Sophie and Lynn from the Just Women Live podcast.
Hi guys, I'm introducing you to this fabulous woman I met a couple of weeks ago called Camilla Seton Medical. Following her own personal journey, she's become passionate about helping people take a proactive approach to their well-being through comprehensive blood testing, which I'm so interested in hearing about. Her personalised health insights, IV vitamin therapies, and preventative health strategies. Her mission is to encourage people to stop waiting until they're unwell and start making their health a priority. Don't we all? Tell me about it.
Tell you about it. So I set up my clinic 25 years ago. That was following the death of my late fiance, who had a brain tumour. So he died just before we were due to get married. And it was sitting in the chemotherapy wards that just made me think there's all these poorly people here and I need to help them. I think I've got Florence Nightingale. Really. And how I started off actually was I was providing permanent makeup, not in the way people see it as it is now. For ladies who'd had mastectomies. So I was doing 3D nipple and areola. Nobody had ever heard about it way back then. That's how, so I set up 2 weeks after he died. And it's progressed into from my journey. So when I was 42, I gave up work to look after my late fiance. And following his death and everything, it was burnout, it was hormones, I went through an early menopause that I didn't realise. I just became really, really interested in finding out exactly what's going on, because I always use the analogy, you take your car for an MOT and it's illegal not to every year. And when you take your car for an MOT, they don't just test the electrics, they test everything. And if it doesn't pass, then they will give you a list of things that you need to take action on to be able to get it to pass.
So basically giving everyone an MOT.
Yeah, so that's what I say to people. Why do we spend more money on our car? If you had one vehicle, one car for life, what would you do with maintaining? This is the vehicle that you have for life. You need to maintain it. But we say that your body whispers for a long time before it shouts. But I think due to my experience that, I've actually been widowed twice, having lost my father as well. And also I'm very open and talk about, I lost my mother. She took her own life when I was 21. That was due to postnatal depression. It was then turned into, mental health. And sadly, in those days, they were sort of institutionalised. It was shoved underneath the carpet. It was, fed Valium, and that was it. So from a very early age, I've always been interested in with regard to hormones, etc. So when I was going through burnout, I was constantly going to the doctors saying, I know, I just do not. And how often do you hear people say, I just don't feel like myself? But nobody was really listening. And so it wasn't until I had a client who came into the clinic. She was a pharmacist and her husband was a doctor. And I was explaining to her about my symptoms. And she said, I can tell you exactly what's wrong with you. She said, my husband's a hormone specialist. She said, it's hormones, it's thyroid. I exercised every day, but I could not shift the weight. I put on about 3.5 stone. And so I thought, I'm really interested in this. So he said, let me do a comprehensive functional blood test. And I went, I can't tell you how much blood that I have given over the past year trying to find out what's going on. He said, this is different, completely different biomarkers.
Did you do that in England? Was this in England?
Yeah. So he did the functional blood test and he rang me up and he said, you need to come and talk to me ASAP. I think, right, okay. And he said, I don't know how you get out of bed in the morning. Seriously, he said, you have adrenal fatigue, you have problems with your thyroid, you have problems with your hormones, you're vitamin deficient. I'm like, wow. So this was the MOT, all the things that I needed to do. So over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, when I'm taking the medication, so I take a desiccated pig thyroid, and also I was having the IV vitamin drips, and I take something for adrenal fatigue. I lost 3.5 stone, and my bloods were, instead of at 42, more like a 60-year-old. I've been able to reverse that, and I'm 63 on Thursday. I'm more like in my 40s. And I think I'm most probably happier, healthier and fitter than I have been in the last 40 years.
That's
So
amazing.
how many pills do you take A desiccated
I take a
pig's
desiccated.
thigh.
Yeah,
What
so
is
it's
that?
one tablet. It's
One
for my
tablet.
thyroid.
Mhm.
It's because
You
I've
buy
got
that
dysfunction.
abroad?
Yeah. So I actually go to Brussels for my hormone testing as well as all the biomarkers because the gentleman, the doctor who originally saw me, has actually moved to Canada.
Right.
So he said to me, "Go to Brussels." He said, they're very, very proactive. They consider it as anti-aging rather than an illness. Because unfortunately,
Great to see
here
that,
what
yeah.
happens is they give you a tablet or they put a plaster over the symptom
Yeah.
rather than
So
looking
true.
at the cause.
Cause, yeah.
So so where I talk to people about, what supplements do people take, it's incredible the amount of things that people take, what they'll inject, what they take. And I said, who told you to take it?
Yeah. And
How do you know whether you're
How much to
deficient?
take?
Yes.
Do you know that you need it? What dosage are you taking?
So they go and have these intravenous injections, and they don't really know what. I think vitamin C is the best thing to have.
But it's even
take
things
too
like
much.
creatine and testosterone and things like that. And it's because we're inundated on Instagram, TikTok, etc. But I said, everybody has a different car, make,
Exactly.
model, colour. If you drive your car 100 miles down the road at 100 miles an hour every single day, your fuel tank of all these biomarkers or your fuel tank of petrol is going to be used a lot quicker. So everybody's very much individual, but unfortunately with the blood tests that we have, generally, it's based on the nation's average. You can't average an individual.
No.
So I see a lot of women who are taking HRT, but they don't have a blood test to have HRT. They're given a standard dose.
What type of HRT?
Really?
Yeah. So if you think of, there's a lot going on with regard to menopause at the moment, and unfortunately, well, it's fortunate that it is, but this is how. When I go back to my mother, this is how it all stemmed from her. So I am really, really passionate about people finding about their hormones, finding out about what's going on in their bloods. Your body whispers, and we all are so reactive rather than proactive.
It's funny because I went and had a whole load of blood tests done. I went to a private clinic that's actually in Guildford because I've had the thyroid issues and I was getting all these symptoms and I couldn't work out what it was and I wondered whether it was hormones. Anyway, I got all the results and then I just thought, what do? I didn't really know what to do next. I had the results because I think I wanted to tell the doctor that I was perimenopausal, and it obviously indicated that I was. So I go to the doctor and say, here's all my results. Apparently I'm perimenopausal. What do I need to do? I've been having these symptoms. But everything else was ignored.
So normally what happens is, unfortunately, women, when they go in saying, I haven't got energy, I'm feeling this, I'm not feeling like myself, you get given that's menopause and 95% of women go through it. And I think, that's fine, but what are you going to do about it? Because these are the symptoms that I've got. If the warning light comes on your car, you think, oh God, I need to do something about it. Your body's symptoms are your body's warning light that says there's something going on here. So I can, maybe a little bit tired, but I can actually sit here and say that I don't feel any symptoms of fatigue. I don't feel symptoms of aching muscles. I don't feel hormonal symptoms because I'm addressing all of those. And I'm taking the appropriate dosage. And your hormones change. So, every 6 months when I do, I may take a little more estrogen or a little less estrogen, but you're offered antidepressants, when you go to the doctor.
Oh, always.
So,
even at such a young age these days.
I know.
Like my children are struggling with anxiety.
Sure.
I've got a 15-year-old boy. I go into the doctors and I said, he's told me he wants to take antidepressants, and the doctor said, well, that might be the route we go down. I thought, please don't say that.
That's
he's
putting
15.
a plaster over. You need to find the root cause.
I want to find out why he's feeling like this and what we can do in.
And if he's 15, he's having massive hormonal shifts.
Yes,
massive.
completely. And also there's so many different other therapies out there. Why do I have to just chuck a pill in it?
I mean, you touched on that you had all your results and everything. What I do when I do the blood tests, when you get the blood test results back, I then go through it as a review.
Yes,
so I go through every single biomarker, where you are on that scale. And you may be low, but within the range. But it's a case of like your car. If you're on a quarter of a tank, you know you've only got so much mileage left before you actually refuel.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing with my IV drips and all I'm doing with my medication is I'm refueling to be able to not have the symptoms. So it's an anti-aging thing. To go back to the analogy of your car, you know. So I go through all the biomarkers and I look at things that can be optimized. People say, do I have to do this? I said, it's knowing what's going on, but what you can do to optimize your health. I mean, for instance, you know, women, if they've got high cholesterol, you know, the doctor could potentially say, and I'm not being detrimental to teacher, but they could turn around and go, you need to sort your diet out. But we know that, in fact, with hormones, when your estrogen is not as efficient or it's declining with age, that sends your cholesterol up.
Yeah, because I've been told I've got high cholesterol and very low iron, but all I get told is to take iron tablets, and that's basically.
But we've got to figure out the reason.
What's the reason
why
I've got those two problems?
All the biomarkers work in conjunction with each other. So, for instance, if you had, I don't know, low hematocrit in your red blood cells, I mean, the red blood cells is carrying oxygen through the body. So when people say, I'm tired, they can put it down to the hormones, they can put it down to their thyroid, they can put it down that they've had a late night.
Yeah.
We're all doing guesswork.
Yeah.
Whereas where the blood is the thing that's actually going to be telling you exactly what's going on.
So when we come over and see you and get a blood test, we come back? Or what's the story?
I mean, for instance, there was a lady at the Just Women Live. She knows Naomi. She is, I think she in St Albans. And Christina, her name is, and she was chatting to me. She said, how do I go about this? And I said, you can have your blood taken by anybody, but as long as a qualified phlebotomist or somebody, a nurse, so you can have it taken. It's what I do with the review.
Exactly.
So as soon as you find out what your results are,
I needed you when I got my results.
So I go through the review.
I didn't have a clue. I just looked at all these numbers and letters, and I was like.
So I talk about, you know, what you can do to optimise with regard to lifestyle, if there's tweaks that you can make. But also, if there is anything medical, then I will say, right, this is what it points out, i.e. your thyroid. And you do have to be your own advocate, you know, is to go back to your doctor. I mean, I have to say, I've been to 8 of my clients' doctors with them and said, we're not leaving until you sort this out.
Wow, love that.
Because at the end of the day, you know, some of us aren't confident in being able to go there. But I know that one with my mum and one what I went through, and also my daughter's, you know, she's been very open at that when she went through postnatal depression and went through HD in her second pregnancy. We know how important it is to be able to be your own advocate and to get answers, you know, because you don't want to be feeling like that.
Very good. So do we go and get blood tests from a doctor and then come back to you?
So
we come down and see you?
Yes. So, I mean, you can, if you, what happens is you get I collaborate with Medichecks Laboratory and other laboratories, also one in Belgium.
How long do they take?
And normally to be able to get a test kit, it can be 3 to 4 working days.
Oh, you send us a test kit?
No, you have to get the test kit. The GDPR, but I send you all the information how to do it.
We get the test kit.
You also get a discount code because I
tell you what, you need to drink a lot of water before you do blood tests.
Yes,
I tried to do one once, and literally I was going, I was bruising myself trying to get.
I send you all the information of how to get it with the discount code. And then once you get it, then you can either come to me or you can choose somebody local, whether you go to your doctors or whether you go to a phlebotomy clinic. And then it gets sent off, and then normally 3 to 4 working days to get the results.
Then we come back.
And then I will do the review. And then if it's not convenient for people to come to the clinic, then I can do it over Zoom. You know, I do prefer to do it face to face because I do find when people are sat with me, they'll go, "Oh, I forgot to tell you about this," or "Oh, that's interesting." Oh yeah, I have felt like that. So you know, it's better to do it face to face. But I understand if people
And then
can't.
can you give people top-ups of certain things when they're there?
So with regard to the blood test, we go through, so again, in this blood test, some of the biomarkers are vitamins, to see whether you're deficient or not. And then if you wanted to have an IV vitamin drip there, you can. The IV vitamin drips, there's 4 ways you can take a supplement. You can take a tablet, you can take a spray, you can take an intramuscular injection, or you can have an IV. With the tablets, I am very much, I say to people, how often do you look on that back of that bottle to see what else is in it? Yeah. I mean, there are some up to 85% of bulking agents in some vitamins.
Don't most of them come out the other end?
And also, I have a colleague, Talita, who is a hydrotherapist, colonic hydrotherapist, And
I
she
love
said
that.
she could have made a lot of money with regard to unabsorbed vitamins.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
sees
sure.
it going through, and we don't
This
check.
doesn't go in.
And that again is what the blood test will tell about your saturation and absorption levels. So, and I say to people, you're spending all this money on tablets, whether you don't know whether you need or not. And secondly, is you don't know whether you're absorbing them. And always the last question I say, how long have you been taking them for? Do you feel any different? And people go, I don't really know. But it's a habit to taking them.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the vitamin drips, it's going straight in the bloodstream. It's bypassing your digestive tract, because that's the thing. Lots of people will have gut health problems, IBS, leaky gut, inflammation, don't know whether they're absorbing. So the IV goes straight into the bloodstream. And the IV vitamins are prescribed specifically for you, what your symptoms are and what your needs are. So I can make a cocktail, which is specific for you. Normally we'd say every 4 weeks. If you think about what happens, it goes into the bloodstream and it's metabolizing. And people who have them on a monthly basis, they will ring me up and go, is it time for my IV yet? And I said, why are you saying that? I said, my fuel tank is running on empty.
Yeah, it's like a human petrol station.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
The
IV petrol station. Yeah, definitely. Come for your topper. But people don't realise how powerful vitamins are.
Yes. If they're used correctly.
Really. I mean,
the right dosage.
Mental health, physical health. Yeah, I mean, it is quite incredible. I don't take any supplements whatsoever. I only take my thyroid because I do my IVs every month.
So how do we find you?
You find me. I have my clinic in Rochester. I'm also looking about going to other clinics as well to provide the service. I'm on Instagram, Camilla Seton. I also have a website, camillaseton.co.uk. And that's being updated at the moment, the website, because I'm doing more and more things. Most probably Instagram is probably the best.
Brilliant. Well, we're there.
Yeah, definitely.
Send us.
You're the sort of person I've been looking for and not found yet, because with my thyroid, I don't like the idea of just this blanket levothyroxine dose thrown at me. And I had a friend living in Australia, and they treated her so differently and with much more natural, sorry, I'm losing my trail of thought, but a much more natural solution. And I just feel, I've read a lot about levothyroxine, and it makes me nervous, because I know if I don't take it, I can feel it, but it's not really changing anything about my symptoms. I've still got very similar symptoms to when I first.
But what's interesting is the fact that you keep getting a repeat prescription, but you don't have bloods done regularly for it. And this is what I say to people: how long have you been on this for? I said, because at the end of the day, how do you know you still need the dosage?
Well, they'll tell me I'm fine.
Right.
So they'll say, oh yeah, levels are fine. And I think, well, I don't feel fine.
But things change. Though. I mean, every 6 months I do mine, and I can change. In winter, I take more of my thyroid medication than I do in the summer, like I do with my vitamin D. So you keep getting repeat prescriptions, but at the end of the day, do you know it's actually serving you? Because when I was on levothyroxine during lockdown, I just kept being told, up the dose, and I was doing my bloods, and I'm saying, it's doing absolutely nothing. But me being me, I was like, well, forget about me at the moment. I said, how many people are wandering around the UK taking this levothyroxine, and it's doing absolutely nothing for them? Because it's funny, it's not a one-size-fits-all.
No, it's funny because I can tell when I don't take it, but I still suffer the same symptoms when I do. So I still get the sort of bone cold. I've had bloating, the weight gain. Just there's so many symptoms around.
And it may not just be thyroid, and that's where the bloods will be able to say. Because, as I think I said earlier, that if you took the back off an expensive watch and see all those tiny mechanisms, they all work in conjunction. So when the cogs go around, if something is slightly faltering, one of them, it's going to have a knock-on effect. And this is the same. For instance, I was talking about red blood cells. Hemocrite carries oxygen through the body. That could be why somebody's feeling tired, but how will they know that that's the reason why, unless they have a blood test? Or it could mean you're low on vitamin D, or it could be you're low on iron. They all have a knock-on effect.
I'd never get a result for that.
And again, everybody's symptoms are different. I mean, just you and I both take a thyroid medication, But our symptoms are completely different. So how can
Yes.
you give the same dosage in a blanket?
Exactly.
It's the same with HRT. It's what Anne Henderson was talking about
absolutely.
at your event. It's
Absolutely.
fascinating. Each individual should be treated as an individual.
There's no
So,
blanket
Camilla,
solution.
When you're talking,
I am talking with you. I'm talking in November, aren't I?
she is talking on the 12th of November, our Glitz and Glamour event of the evening before Christmas.
Amazing.
Yeah, which would be fantastic. So we'll have lots of little intros with you, what
It's
you're
going to
doing.
be slightly different, isn't it? that
It'll
one?
be slightly different, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fantastic. So we'll
We're
talk about,
sparkly.
yeah, everything's glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it's dinner as
Yes,
well.
we've
So
got
everyone's
food
sitting
with us
down.
on.
So it'll be great to have some
lovely.
interaction there.
Yeah.
See if we can get some interaction with you there as well.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
really
so much.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's
So
nice
much.
to be
You're
able to
so
get it out
interesting.
there.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting that you can talk like this and basically help people.
I could talk for hours
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
we found it. Well, we'll get you back, don't worry. We'll
Yeah.
get you back. Camilla, thanks so much for coming. It was so interesting. I mean, it's something that we don't know about our bloods and really what goes on with the NHS and going to doctors. And you've literally pulled a blanket off us. It's fascinating. So I'm definitely coming to see you. I think
Yeah.
Sophie is
And we'll
too.
get you back in when we've been.
With our
Yeah.
results.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for having me. It's just being able to get it out there. As I say to people, treat your body
Body.
like you would do if you just had one vehicle for life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before it shouts.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.